Hey everybody, thanks for joining me on Tuesday, and this particular Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. So I almost didn't find my happy taco shirt, and that made me very sad. So look how happy that taco is. That's how happy you can be after eating these quinoa tacos that are just so easy to make, and you're going to make it in your Instant Pot. Also, if you're here, just say hi, let me know you're here. Let me know if you have an Instant Pot, what kind of Instant Pot you have, or if you really need to know how to make these on the stovetop. I can do that for you too. So, before we start off, today's live is sponsored by I Heart Keenwah. And I do heart quinoa. And I heart quinoa, I heart quinoa. They're a vegan company, or like a 99% vegan company. I think they still have one flavor of cheese, quinoa puffs. We're not using the quinoa puffs today, but I wanted to tell you about them anyhow, because I actually, I think it's this flavor. They have like a truffle flavor that is killer crushed on top of salads, especially if you have somebody who doesn't want to eat a salad. I use their sweet chili flavored, and I crush them up, and I use them instead of breadcrumbs on tofu, and I air fried them. So if you've got some of these around, there's so many cool things you can do with them, so you definitely should do that. Today, we're going to be cooking with their toasted quinoa. And what I really like about their toasted quinoa is I know for a fact I don't have to rinse that outer coating that's can be on quinoa. For a while, I was buying it in the bulk bins at Whole Foods, and it was washed. And then one day it wasn't, but I didn't find out till after I cooked it, and so I had to throw it away. Because quinoa is a seed, right? So it has that little, I forget the chemical name of it. I bet Natalie can put that in the comments so everybody would know. Natalie Slater is my friend, and she works for I Heart Quinoa, but she also is the queen of BaconDestroy.com. So you probably know her already, and she can bake some mean cupcakes. Yes, thank you, Natalie. Now if you just need to give me a prompter with exactly how to say everything, we'll be good. Just kidding. So they have a tricolor. Oh, where do you get I Heart Quinoa? That's a great question, Jenny. I actually usually get mine at Whole Foods, and they also have them at Kroger's where I am. So I'm sure there are plenty of other places, and I would suspect that if you go to their site, they have a little place that you can locate it. But I know for a fact it's at Kroger and Whole Foods, and it should be Whole Foods nationwide. So the other thing, besides having this quinoa already washed for you, which is pretty awesome. Oh, and Natalie's right. They're also on Amazon, of course. So everything's on Amazon now, right? So in addition to washing it, it's also toasted. So a lot of times when I have plain quinoa, I will go ahead and saute it and toast it for a while, but it does make it taste better. Sometimes quinoa can have a little bit of a bitter flavor, and I find that I Heart Quinoa doesn't have that at all. So, and you can get it in just, where did I put the plain? Here we go. Or it's not plain. They're both plain. One is white and one is 3 colors. That's all the difference there is. So, and it's organic, it's non-GMO certified, it's fair trade certified, it's gluten-free, kosher, and vegan. So, I think that takes care of everybody's worries right there. So what we're going to do with this quinoa today is I'm going to make this super easy taco filling that could also be the bottom of a bowl, because we're coming up to Cinco de Mayo, so everybody wants to have more Mexican food, or American Mexican food. This definitely is not a traditional Mexican dish by any standard, so I'm not trying to put that over on you. We are going to use some veggies in here. We're going to put some beans, and we're going to put a bunch of spices, and it's the spices that are really going to take this and make it seem like a really great taco filling. So I'm going to change cameras so we can come over here, and this is what it looks like when it's out of the package. Tricolor quinoa is one of my favorites. I think it's just so pretty. Anyhow, I will stop playing with that. You guys should get your own. Have you ever done that through the beans at the bulk bins? They just feel so good. And don't worry, my hands are washed. So I've got my 3-quart Instant Pot. I've also made this in a 6-quart Instant Pot, so it would work either way. I have about a half a cup of shredded zucchini and about a half a cup of carrots. Now, I buy a lot of my carrots pre-shredded, and I have that so I can make quick desserts, like a little quick carrot cake in a mug that Natalie's familiar with as well, that I make in the air fryer. Now, this is still kind of wet and mushy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my Instant Pot on saute for just a few minutes. And I'm just going to saute the veggies dry a little bit just to get some of that liquid out. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I think it'll just make things not stick together quite as much. We're not going to do it for very long. And in fact, even the cook time on this is very short. It's only going to be cooked for 5 minutes. Oh, I know. Natalie makes the mug cake all the time. So and that's one of the good reasons of having kind of some shredded carrots around. You could shred your own. I just like to go ahead and grab some while I'm at Trader Joe's. So see how that's kind of clumping together? The heat eventually will kind of help that a little bit. And today I'm just going to use some canned black beans. You could also use any kind of beans. You could get this tri-bean, what is it, pintos, kidneys, and black beans. You could use kidneys. You could use heirloom beans. You really can use whatever you want. Oh, Donna, that carrot cake recipe is actually on bacondestroy.com. If you look it up, it's on Natalie's blog. She was part of my blog tour for the, what was it, Vegan Cooking in Your Air Fryer. So I wanted to call it a different name. It's been that kind of day. How about you guys? How's your day been? It's very, very rainy here, which I really love. So I'm kind of the opposite of a lot of people. Can I use jelly beans? Only Natalie Slater can use jelly beans. No one else can, and only like the day before Easter. Bacondestroy.com, that is Natalie Slater's website. And so she's talking on here in the comments too. You might be able to see her. Excellent, Natalie. You're such a good person. You're so savvy. No wonder you're the marketing person at Keenwah. And I'm waiting for this to kind of warm up a little bit. And it's getting a little bit of the moisture out right now. So I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about some of these different spices. Yeah, Sarah, Natalie is a good person. I like her a lot. And when I went to Chicago a few years ago, she met up with me and took me to eat all the things. And that was wonderful too. So I'm looking forward to going back to Chicago so she can tell me all the other yummy things to eat. So, you know, I talk a lot about substituting things. And today you're going to see that in action. I made this recipe this past week, and then I realized I ran out of smoked paprika. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add a little liquid smoke with regular paprika. Okay? So I want to be the example about how everything doesn't have to follow a recipe exactly, and you can kind of change things to what you have. So obviously, if you don't have zucchini, yellow squash would be good. You could throw some corn in there, right? It's yours. What do you like? I wanted to have this end up being a taco filling that has some vegetables that we can kind of hide in there, and shredded vegetables do pretty good with that. Add a little extra beans and the quinoa. So that was my goal. My other goal is to kind of give it a really nice chili kind of taco-ish flavor, because to me, chili means that. You guys, can you see how that's just drying out just a little bit? It's not really cooking down. I'm just getting a little bit of that out. So while that's going on, I have some regular chili, like chile powder, which is different than chili chili powder. Does anybody know what the difference is that wants to be smarty pants and shout out? Okay, I'll tell you. So this is made just with toasted chilies. So that means there's nothing else in here except whatever chili I have. And I think this was Californian chilies or New Mexican chilies. And in my chili powder recipe, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. So when you're in your Instant Pot and you're wanting to go from saute to something else, you always have to go to cancel next, because this is plenty warm to get the rest of that water out. And let me see what that, I can only see half of that. Yeah, smoked paprika can change lives. I agree. I also think liquid smoke can change lives, because I find out, and I'm Southern, so what I think is that a lot of times when people are transitioning to a meatless diet, especially people who are used to Southern food, they're used to everything being smoky from fatback. And if you ever come to the South and get a vegetable plate, ask if there's pork in there, because it'll surprise you. It's in a lot. So, but a little liquid smoke, and or, if we'll pretend this is smoked paprika, which I'm out of. So smoked paprika too kind of gives it that little bit of, let me see if I can kind of describe it. It's not quite like a fresh red pepper, but almost like a mild chili, because it, you know, it is what it is. But that with the smoke, it really kind of adds together and gives it a really yummy flavor. Now, liquid smoke, I have a bunch of different flavors, and I'm a huge fan of liquid smoke, and a lot of people are scared of liquid smoke. But really, in this factory in particular, they burn wood and they catch the condensation. So it's not some sort of weird chemical makeup. It's just what it is. So you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to use that with a little bit of paprika to kind of faux make my smoked paprika, right? And I'm also calling for Mexican oregano. Just check on this really quick. And as you can see, it's all gone. And I love Rancho Gordo's spices when they have it, especially some of their oregano. And here's the thing. If Mexican oregano versus Italian oregano is something to know. Italian oregano, you would recognize immediately the scent, because you probably grew up, if you grew up in this country, you grew up eating it on pizza. Mexican oregano has a slight more floral and lemony kind of tinge or to it. And so I will substitute marjoram for that. And if you guys have marjoram and regular oregano in your spice counter right now, I really encourage you to go ahead and smell both side by side. It's amazing. And I love marjoram in soups and things a little bit more. And I'm going to change it. I realized I did not get any water, and Keenwah likes to cook with water. So let's get some now. And if you guys have any questions about seasonings or substitutions for something you're wanting to make now, let me know. Let's see what we got. Yeah, and people are just a little bit nervous about liquid smoke. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in some chili powder. This is the regular, it's just made with dried chili powder. I'm going to put a little more than a half a teaspoon, even though that's what I called for. And the paprika, and this is actually going to be up on the blog later today. I'm just running behind. So I think I also did a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit of liquid smoke to kind of balance that out. I've got some cumin that I'm going to be putting in. You know, I don't cook my tricolor quinoa longer than white. Natalie, am I doing the wrong thing? I always kind of cook it about the same. I haven't really had any issues with that. I'm going to put in a little cumin. And then I'm going to put in some marjoram to stand in for the Mexican oregano. And I guess we can find out now too, when I made this recipe the first couple times, I did use, actually I'm going to go ahead and turn this back to saute. When you're using spices rather than herbs, sometimes it's nice to go ahead and let them get a little bit warmed up. And if you have my cookbooks or read my recipes online, you'll see a lot of times I'll say saute until the spices become more fragrant, because the heat actually kind of activates it. So Herbs can get too old and you have to throw them away. Spices can be reactivated with heat for a very, very long time, which is why it's good to buy them in big packages at the Indian market or the Hispanic market. And yeah, I like the way that's smelling right now. Though I think I'm going to put just a tad more chili powder in there. Mostly because I'm just feeling that way today. Oh, and Natalie says Urban Accents makes the Mesa Rosa Chipotle seasoning. Oh, that sounds really, really good. I don't know them, so I'm going to have to check that out. Okay. So I've warmed this up again, so I'm going to press cancel again. This is just 1 can of beans that I rinsed and drained. Or, well, drained, then rinsed. Else it would be a little bit problematic, huh? So I'm going to mix that in a little bit. And see how pretty that is already? It makes some really pretty tacos. And look at all the veggies and stuff you've got in your family just from this. So now I'm going to pour in a little less than this. Let me grab another bowl. I'm going to put in about a cup of quinoa. There we go. I think that's closer. And about a cup and a little extra water. And this is how I look at things. With the Instant Pot, you're not going to lose as much water when you're cooking, but you still need enough water to come up to pressure too. I think that's probably enough. And so if this is somehow a little bit too watery when the time comes, I'm just going to switch it back to saute again, and then I can fix it up that way. So I'm going to put the top on. I'm going to turn the vent to sealing, because if you have an Instant Pot brand, it's sealing or venting, which is really interesting. Let's get that out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to cook this for 5 minutes. So I'm going to go to pressure cook or manual, depending on what version Instant Pot I have. I'm going to go down to 5 minutes, and then it's going to start. And we'll put this over here. We're actually going to look for a minute at some that I've already made, so you don't have to sit here and watch this cook for a long time. I thought that might be nice. You tell me. Oh, wow. Kate has a cake recipe that calls for 1 cup of oil and 4 eggs. What kind of cake is it? Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because that would help me talk to you a little bit more about what to use. I know. So, ta-da! This is the one I made, obviously not with tricolor, but with just the single color. And see how that's kind of pretty? And the zucchini kind of just goes away a little bit, which is good for really picky eaters. With the spices and things like that, put some in my mouth, you really can taste the chili powder. Yeah, Natalie is the baker queen. So if it's more than 2 eggs, she usually just tries to find a different recipe. Thanks, Donna. It is yummy, and I wish you lived closer so I could give you some tacos, because now I'm going to have 2 batches. Kate, you might try using silken tofu. I need to know a little more about the cake to give you an exact substitute, but if it's something you're really, really wanting, that might be helpful, and still use some flaxseed eggs as well. So maybe I would use 1 cup of tofu for the oil, because I'm assuming that you're not using oil at all. You could also use 1 cup of smashed avocado. You could put in some nut butter. Those are all some things that you could do. I don't know what your dietary restrictions are, but give me more information and we'll figure it out. Okay, so let's go back to some quinoa then. So I also, in the same post that I'm going to be posting later today, you're going to get this recipe, and you're going to get a recipe for jackfruit. Oh my God, I made the best chili citrus jackfruit taco filling. And last night, we actually put this as part of the bowl, and I put the jackfruit on top of there. And I'll let you see this. I took pictures of this earlier, so it's not as beautiful as it could be. But can you guys see that jackfruit in there? And it is yummy. And so that recipe is also going to go up on the same post. And so there you go. And I'm still waiting for my Instant Pot to come up to pressure. And yeah, the jackfruit is pretty awesome. You might be able to even see it. Can you see it better or worse here? Ooh. It's really yummy and chewy. And one thing with jackfruit, I made this jackfruit in the Instant Pot as well. And I actually made this taco shell in the air fryer. But I've had some issues, so hopefully by next week I can tell you how to do it with getting it right every time. But we put some in, and then we actually put the uncooked tortillas in the air fryer, and it made the top of the jackfruit crisp up really nice. So you could do the jackfruit in the Instant Pot, and you could even put it in the oven or pan fry it a little bit to kind of get that kind of chewier consistency. And it has a really, really strong chili powder and citrus flavor. So it doesn't have a whole lot of other ingredients, but they're really good. Oh, great question. What is jackfruit? And I think I have a can, an empty can, but at Trader Joe's they have it. And you can get it at the Asian market as well. So you want to say green jackfruit and brine. You don't want it to be in sweetener, because actually jackfruit can be used as a fruit and dessert things, and unripe jackfruit actually has this meaty consistency. And when you open the cans, it's going to be in little triangles. And there's like a top ridge. Let me see if I can, let me open up this puppy. Okay. There's like a little top ridge that breaks up into these kind of chickeny kind of pieces, and there's other parts down the side that actually kind of break into more of what you think, oh, I am not doing well. There we go. I think I got it. And you still can't see very well. Let me see if you can see it better with this one. And so I break mine up before I cook it. And here, I'll open up this taco too, so you can kind of see the textures a little bit better. And so it actually does a really good job of mimicking kind of meaty textures, and it looks a lot meaty too. So Debbie, I hope that helps. Typically you're going to get them canned. You can find it fresh at the Asian market, but if you live somewhere, you know, that isn't a big city that has a Trader Joe's, you can still get it at Trader Joe's pretty easy. I think it's maybe $2 or $3 a can, but that's enough to feed 4 people. So, and I have some other jackfruit recipes that are on my blog, healthyslowcooking.com, and you can also, I have a whole bunch coming out really soon on the Revised Vegan Slow Cooker and the Ultimate Vegan Cookbook. I'm going to be having some new jackfruit recipes. I've actually made a really yummy tom yum soup using jackfruit instead of chicken, and it looks like it has chicken in it, and it tastes really good. Okay, now do you guys have any questions about what we're doing? I don't think that, it's kind of a weird rainy day and it's still not up to pressure, so I'm going to kind of just let you guys go with seeing it in these forms. Let's see if I can get that back together a little bit. Yeah, hopefully I will have air fryer tacos for you before Cinco de Mayo. It's a goal, but I've got to tell you, it's 25% of the tacos have gone well. So that's not something I'm quite ready to put out into the world. But it is interesting that you're going from something like this to something like that so quickly. Except for this is tricolor and that is not, just in case you're wondering. Okay. And we're looking at Kate's Cake. When is my new cookbook coming out? Those two that I just talked about are coming out at the end of this year. The book that I came out with earlier this year was Vegan Cooking in Your Air Fryer. So that's my latest new cookbook. And of course, you guys probably all know that I have the Ultimate Vegan Cookbook for your Instant Pot too, which is a really, really great resource. And Kate, that cake looks a little hinky as far as just doing a direct translation. So if you guys aren't seeing this, the cake ingredients she's showing me are 4 ripe bananas, and you might be able to hear in the background as the pressure's building up. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not in the Instant Pot. So 4 bananas, a cup of olive oil, 4 eggs, 1.5 cups oatmeal, raisins, baking soda. That sounds very much like a paleo kind of cake to me. And they sell jackfruit at Trader Joe's. They sell it at Asian markets typically, and you can also get it online. Yet Natalie's saying that, Kate, that sounds a lot like a banana bread recipe, and I think so too. Natalie, do you have a good banana bread recipe? I have a bourbon banana recipe. Can't remember if it's completely oil-free, but I can give you a way to make it oil-free for sure. But that does look like, because paleo people don't have any flours or grains, and so they can have oil, and they use eggs to hold a lot of things together. So they'll make, like, their cauliflower pizza crust uses eggs to hold it together. So Kate, Natalie, if you have a good banana bread recipe, why don't you put it down there? And Kate, once I get off, I'm going to go look up my bourbon banana bread, and I'll give that to you as well. But you can definitely make something that's going to be yummy. Is there a reason you wanted to use this particular recipe? Is it an old family recipe, or a friend gave it to you, or something like that? So that would help a bit. Okay, so now for real, I'm going to wrap up. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to be coming back to this and looking through the comments. The only other thing I wanted to mention too is that I Heart Keenwah has some toasted quinoa cereals too that are pretty yummy, and I like it. So I saw it online. It sounded good with no flour and no sugar. Yeah, I don't think it would. I don't think it would work without the eggs and oil, that particular one. And what I'd love, if you guys want to tell me when you make these quinoa tacos, I would love to see pictures. And I do have one in a little taco right here that's gonna be my lunch. Doesn't that look yummy? So, and can you see it there? Here, I'll show you 2 over here. Maybe you can see it better. Yum. So you guys go have some lunch. Have some tacos with me. And I will see you next Tuesday for probably some more taco goodness. I'm going to kind of keep this going till Cinco de Mayo. Have a great day, everybody, and thank you so much for showing up and participating. Okay, bye, everybody.